leaders above everyone, and there's no one who is saying word against him. But now the challenge comes when he wants to put everything around him. He wants to put the ministries, he wants to put the statutories, he wants to put all the bodies, he wants to control the borders, and everything revolves around him. And the organization is so rich, there is no change in it. Everyone who says a word of change is considered an enemy. But here we have a young man, his name is Jonathan. He said, Father, we cannot sit under a pomegranate tree here for a long time while our children are being invaded by the Philistines. I'm going to go out there and fight them. And when he goes there, so God's made, why are you going against my commands? The problem here is not that Jonathan failed, but it's because the government was not adapting to the changes and the movement. So when they put you on a place of leadership, whether be at your workplace, please master these three things. Master your intellect. Know the things that the workers might know. Because sometimes when you introduce an idea, there is someone who is able already to do that, but that person cannot hold his emotion and they cannot adapt, but they know it intellectually. So beat them there on adaptability and emotion. I hope someone is getting something. Right, I'm done with you. So someone here, if you want to be a successful leader, hold your intellect. Just be ahead in knowledge. And the second thing, adapt to movement. And the third thing, you must put your emotions under control. And now the next thing I'm gonna talk about, where's my projector guy? Where's my projector? Where's my projector? The next thing I'm gonna put here in this short time is the difference between a standard organization and a mega organization. In a standard organization, someone may say that these things are so too big or something for us here. But I want to tell you here, I want to appreciate the present. Prophet Sheza has been here. He honored our invitation. He was here. But I invited him particularly because he was a good example to this present nation. Why? Because he was just a young man, just walking in the street, but then he had a calling of God. Then he had to take a move. And then God is started to do his job, right? Why? So I'm speaking to you guys at your age because no one here knows what the person next to them is going to be in the next 6 hours. In the next, or there may be a call that is just being dialed now is going to take someone to the next level. So before you go to that level, please consider this. And then, so the difference here is that it is important to master these things. All right. I'm going to give you an example that is in the book of Genesis chapter 24. Genesis chapter 24 talks about a very important organization here. And the owner or the founder or the chief is say Abraham. Is say Abraham of And then God calls Abraham and he says to him, Abraham, come out of the land that of the Chaldean, come out of the air of the Chaldean and go to the land that I will show you. And when you go to the land that I will show you, and then Abraham just did that. And when he was on that land, and the Lord said to him on a certain morning, rise up ahead and look all the cardinal points of the globe. For wherever you see, I'm going to give it to you. Look, as he was looking, he saw the river, the great river of Egypt, which is the river Nile. And on the west, he saw the Euphrates River. And he saw beyond the mountains, I forget the name. But the Lord then says to him, on this side, I'm going to give you all the way to the Euphrates River. But what is important here that Abraham, when he got the promise of God to start this thing, or when you as an individual get to understand your mission, this is important to take. This is important to take. I'm speaking to some people here who have got a vision to run organizations, who have got a vision of music to be organizations like, there's some people like Jose of The Praise. We have seen Sis Angie doing that with the heavenly sound. That thing is just still under progress. We're going to see it. A lot of musicians are going to run under them. And these guys are working on it, I know. But so I'm speaking to people here who are going to run organizations or even self-businesses. It is important that you know these things. That the difference now between a standard organization and a mega organization, number one, we're going to talk about vision. In a mega organization, a clear example would be a church Everyone now here understands church is big time. A clear example of a church. In a mega church, the difference between a standard church and a mega church is that a standard church, the vision is unclear and moves from time to time and is driven sideways by circumstances. And it's not known, it's not recited to leaders, but in a mega organization, the vision is clear. And someone would write, our vision is to sell cheap products to customers around just because we are interested in the charity, the society, whatever. But that cannot be a vision, because you know what? That cannot be a goal, because the interesting thing in the football match is not what the players did or the juggling. It's the clock. Time is the most important thing in a soccer team, in the soccer match. Why? Because any score that is scored out of the range of 90 minutes, is it a score, sir? It's not a score, but that goal passes through the gate. Yeah, but it's not a score. So what am I saying here? I'm saying that when you are setting your goals, you need to set them on time. Don't just go and go and go and go. So this is important about the standard organizations. On standard organizations, their visions are not clear, their goals are not clear. So goals are important also in mega organizations. We will make sure that their visions and goals and the structures are known to its people. You pick up a small boy and he tells exactly why we are here, that our mission is to touch, is to change lives, is to inspire, and is to resurrect through the manuscripts and our inspiration. And someone is able to recite that. So this is it, and we are going to emphasize it because re-emphasizing is strength. The next thing I'm going to talk about is structures. There is something important that this organization that was run by Abraham is very important, because I'm giving this one so that everyone understands. Abraham, here we are taking him as a business setup. He have got a global talent, he have got a global blessing, and his mission is to transmit it to the world. And so God given him this business of transmitting a blessing to the world. But now through his son should he do this. Because the Lord said, I'm going to give you all the land, and through all the nations you're going to bless them, because everyone who blesses you is going to be blessed. So now, he's structured man. Now look at this, because in mega, I said I'm going to give example of churches for people to quickly understand. In standard churches, they emphasize more of why you should not go on the crusade in town, and why you should not listen to the preacher next door, or why you should not pull that person next to the next church into your little business, or into your music, or into whatever. They put more emphasis on that. That is a standard mentality or a lost mentality. But in a mega organization, we should allow diversity. Abraham is a man of God, he's called of God, he got a promise of God. But trust me, Mr. Zoe, Abraham puts a man who is called, his name is Eliezer of the heir of child. This man is a heathen. This man is pulling him on board because he was the best administrator in the land of the Chaldeans. This man, he said that I am taken out with you. And if you check on the scripture that I've given you, Genesis 24, he says to him, before that, when Abraham and Lot separated, and Lot was in the land between the two cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, and then came kings to fight them, and they defeated them. So Lot was a victim of captivity, and he was taken with. And one man that escaped came and reported to Abraham. So do not take Abraham easily. He had 318 men trained in his house. 300. He was a king himself. 318 men. Some people just know Abraham about faith. He had 318 soldiers. He had faith, but he had to keep soldiers, he had to keep army. And then he went and he defeated the two kings, and then he released the Lord. And he said, no, the spoil of these things, you can give it to these guys, my guys, you can give it to my guys. But another important thing that here is that when a standard organization emphasizes more on how you should not allow diversity, or how you should not interact with those people out there, because it's not good to them, because their intellect doesn't allow adaptability. But we are going to run, guys, as we're sitting here. As we are setting our standards of running a mega organization, we set up a standard to allow diversity. Because by diversity, we have interrogation, because someone has to interrogate to keep the visionary balance. That's the reason why we see some presidents, they have got cases of corruption because they did not allow diversity in their Senate. So there was no one to interrupt. So there was imbalance in the system because everyone can do anything. So this is the difference. Another thing that is very important here about this guy Abraham is that now also the son of the promise is born, Isaac, and he wants to give them to reproduce. He take Eliezer and say to him on the book of Genesis 24, verse 2 to 4, he says to him, now swear by an oath to God on your thigh, that you are not going to take a wife for my son that is of this house. Go and take a stranger and bring them here. Tinofamba sei kuti munhu ane chimiswa chamari anotore munhu. Tinofamba sei kuti mwana wekwamoyana is running his business, but instead of picking his own brothers, he go and pick Stalon. He allows diversity because the kingdom divided among itself will not stand. When the kingdom is divided among itself, and the CEO and the secretary, and Tremor is the manager, and then Clemens is the department manager. In India, my brother will definitely feel pity and will say nothing. So will that make a come and go when the manager spends the day off of shoot? So a kingdom, if it is divided among itself, will not stand. So Abraham understood diversity. So this is what he is teaching us. That when we are setting our structures, we need to allow diversity. I don't want to talk about myself. All right. I'm not going to talk about myself. My sister emphasizes on that. My sister emphasizes on that. It's making sense. As far as I'm tempted to, I'm going to press it down. But the next important thing is about Abraham when he wants his son, the son of promise, to get married. But now, instead of him taking off his own house, he sent his son to get out there. So the difference between standard organizations or standard churches and mega organizations or mega churches. The standard organizations or standard churches, they work with agasununga, they work with someone who is volunteering to be there. Can we have a present worship leader who is free? Can we have someone, can we have a keyboard player who is free? And then quality is compromised. So a mega organization do what we call headhunt. There is a quality that I have with my sister, and people when they see us doing like practicing the music, and they say, you guys, are you gonna fight him? Because sometimes you see red eyes in the practicing, and we are very safe, we are very like, and we are still practicing. Why? Because you definitely tell you that key you pressed is not it. And I say, if you know how to play this thing, you can't play it yourself. And then when I go, I keep on practicing it, and then I say, yeah, now I got it right. So, by so doing, what are we doing? Is that we are having a diversified mind. You are working as if you are not working with your own. And then, about these structures now, I'm saying that standard organization, they work with Bakasununguka. But mega organizations, they will headhunt. Headhunt means they will hunt for talent. They will put a reward for it. And now, this guy to do a hustle, Abraham didn't tell Eliezer of how to find a wife. He just said him, go and bring a wife here, but make sure he's not of our house. And then he goes with a bunch of camels, brothers. He goes with a bunch of camels. But what happens if you want to meet the talent, you must have the token that matches the talent that you are hunting. Set the standard. So whatever you are doing in life, set the standard for what you are aiming for. If you are aiming for a promotion at your workplace, do not work as if you are already the manager, or do not work as if you want to get there by pity. Work as if you fit to be there. You know, and a certain time I was employed at the first time I was employed in my first company that I worked in Cape Town, and they say, and then this guy and this boss just come in, he directed in my eyes and say, now you guys are you are busy building yet, and you are almost at the window level. Do you know what's the height of the windows? That was too fast for me, and that was too fast for everyone, because we didn't have a close look on the plan, because no one had a plan of windows. must be done by the Armenian guys, and I said to him, the height of windows is the difference between door height, which is 2.1, and the size of the window. Straight in his eyes, he didn't even have the plan of the window. And you can know actually that if you're building a window, you must know that the difference between the door height and the size of the window, that's where you must leave the building, and then you continue. And I was precise on there. So when he saw me there, he thought, okay. So from there, I started working on it, and then the story ended here. And then, so what I'm saying here is that mega organizations, they headhunt. Do not take someone, I'm sorry that the CEO is off, but he is still here. These guys, I'm sure you guys, you're not going to hire someone because you like them or feel pity. You're going to hire someone behind camera because they know how to take a best shot. So this is it. The mega organizations will always recruit on talent because a kingdom is as strong as its talented people. Every time you have an infusion of a gifted person in the kingdom, it raises the standard because they bring new skill and the communication differs. It's boring to have in a church the same music, We need someone to spice up and put a jack, But if we're still having that old school, then that defines us as a standard organization. We want to move in there. The standard organization, some of them, they just have one team. If one is sick, then the company breaks. If I would give a simple example of the church that you understand, the church example you understand the most, they have just one presidentship team, which is elderly people, and when it's time for you to stand up, there are only 4, and it's so sad because the churches are dying, and the future depends on us, and that is happening every day. All the leaders are elderly people, and they say we can't step forward to take the lead. But Tutu Bismarck was ordained when he was only 23. Then he said that when they ordained me a night before, they called me aside and they said this thing: you are dating a girl that will probably marry, you will manage finances properly, and your morals will be straight, young men. Do you hear that? Because tomorrow you're going to be ordained, it is the land of no return. So what am I saying this evening? I'm saying that it is not, we are not too young to take lead. We are not too young to express new ideas. We are not too young to adapt to the revolution. We are not too young to introduce new ideas to the world. We are not too young to do that. Are you too young? Oh no, you're not too young. Baba Gucci met God first when he was 14. It's just teenagers. Guys, look at Jesus, John and James. They were just teenagers and 12 years old. He's sitting in the Sanhedrin and he's explaining scriptures to the Pharisees. People who are white all their life studying scriptures and he's explaining there. Just the teenagers with a global mandate. So are we too young to take lead? Are we too young to establish our companies? We are not too young. Are we too young to put my 500 rand there on the stock exchange? I'm not too young to do that. Am I too young to invent an application that will take over from WhatsApp? I'm not too young. Am I too young to introduce a software that at least an African company developing cell phones will buy? I'm not too young to do that. So what is it that you want to give to the world that you think you are too young to do it? You're not too young to do it because they also. But one thing that is because you will see that they say they are too young to do that, they can't do that, let's find that one. Of course you must have some white heads in there to balance it, and the emphasis is balance. They make an organization, they make sure that the system and structure is balanced. We must as leaders, we must be able to pick the next leaders early. And we are having Paul there, he's an old man, he just went to Philip, and he picked Timothy. So this teenager, this boy, you've got a gift of God. He's just young. And Timothy, if you read the scriptures, you understand that they could not go too far. And that's why the reason why they were arrested in Philip, where they were put in the dungeon, where they sing praises and the Lord they released them. The reason being that they could not go too far because Timothy was just coming from circumcision and he could not go too far because he was having stomach pain, and then Paul says to him that you drink a little bit of medicine. And that's the reason when they were still passing, they were just moving around the city of Philip, and then they see a lady that was there who was infested of a spirit and started casting Paul, and they chased him out, and then the officers were ready, they arrested him, put him in the dungeon. But this guy that caused all this is Timon, just a young man, just small. So are we too young to take a lead? Are we too young to speak sense?
No.
Are we too young to express? No, we are not. So I'm challenging you, ladies and gentlemen, this evening, that as we go on taking our lives forward, we never know who is Mama Pastor here, we never know who is Mama CEO here, we never know those things, because a lot of CEOs, they become CEOs of big businesses because it is said that behind every successful man there is a strong woman. Are you going to be a strong lady behind a successful man?
Wow.
It's a question to girls, it's also a question to ladies. So what I'm saying today is, when you guys will be running your organization, keep stability in there. Because it is also happening also that when we put young people in our leadership systems, we expect them to mature in the next 3 months. It's impossible, Mr. O. It's impossible. We are having Mrs. Sarah here. After the promise at 75, she waited for 25 to have a child. And we are having Mama Rebecca, she waited more than Sarah, but then she gave twins. You had a little bit of patience and you reap double portions. So, Sarah, now Rebecca was so concerned with administrating the riches of Father Abraham and of course his wife Isaac. So she was not troubled. So the other idea is, while you are still working on your pain, do not wait for it, like she said, do not wait for the pain to completely vanish because time is going. Fight on it and then fight on your purpose. Fight your purpose. Fight your pain. Fight towards your purpose. Fight your pain. So as we are going to be leaders, we need to understand these things, ladies and gentlemen, that the structures need to allow diversity, because by diversity, Abraham brought a very great administrator from the land of Chaldeans, and his name was Eliezer, and his kingdom was a success, and his business, to say, was one of the most successful, and is of course an iconic business in the world of the world of today. You see, guys, and the next thing I'm going to talk about, and should be second from last, is plans, terms, and systems. The plans in a standard organizations, they are not known. I would always revolve on an example of a church. No one knows that we want to buy instruments. No one knows that we have pastors going to a meeting. No one knows that we have got a church struggling in Malaysia. No one knows that we are having that and that and that. And this applies to every ministry. This applies to every business. But what happens, you have people blaming you for eating their money. Or even in an organization, if your workers or the subordinates doesn't understand the goals and the plans of the company, they will blame misappropriation of or misuse of funds just because they don't really understand where the funds are going. And so in standard organizations, you put money on the plate and they count it, they send a WhatsApp message and say, here is it. But on mega organizations, they have written down and it's reports that are up to date. So asking for an update of how it is going, even if you are just a member in the system, is not considered hypocrisy, or is not considered an abomination, because they are already there to present. But if you do them, put money on the bed and count it, we are not going to go anywhere because we are going to misappropriate it. So this is it. Even what a small business you are doing, learn to put your business in papers. This evening I was sending this afternoon I was calling, I just went into passed through a shop that do photocopies. I wanted to do photocopies of all my invoices of the small job that I'm doing. And then when I got there, I could not find them because when I uploaded them to my drive, it did not synchronize. I don't know what the problem is. And then I called him, would you please send them back to me? All I'm saying here, I'm just putting an emphasis that there is at least paperwork to prove what we are doing. So here is it that is going to differentiate Pig Dog as a mega organization and Pig Dog as a standard organization. The plans are clear. In the next 6 months, we are working on buying a 25mm Canon camera. In in the next 8 months we are planning to buy one of the second hands from Supersport. Those things must be clear. My idea here is not saying that even as a church we must have a flow or a big big number of people coming into the congregation. But what I'm saying here is that the setup must be important involving the plans and the finances. If you introduce an accountant even into a church system and he wants to, if you invite them, by the when they go to sit with the pastors and they are talking, they don't want to know about the mission. They want to see the budget. Because if the budget doesn't allow sponsorship of the mission, of the main idea behind the organization, that organization is crumbling. So accountants, they are interested in seeing the budget. That's the financial plan of an organization. So even before you do whatever you want to do, have a proper financial plan. We are having Strike Masiwa at 32 launching Econ in Zimbabwe. But before that, he had planned, he prepared a business proposal to Zimbabwe. He was bidding also for the 3 posts that were there to put networks. And he bid it there. It was a plan that was precise with everything in there to the last, even how it would cost to call for a minute. It was in there in the plan. It was all like 100 and something pages to 500 pages. It took time for him to plan that. Tudo says that in 1994, on the day of inauguration of President Mandela, I was flying from Amsterdam into Johannesburg, and then in there he met Seth Branson, the owner of Virgin Airlines. And he was sitting to him on seat number 3A. So when he was sitting there, because he was just upgraded into a business class aeroplane. So when he was sitting in there, and then he comes, and then he had a bunch of mails that were there, business proposals, and he just picked a few, like 5 and we put them in a pocket and say, this is what I want, you guys can push the rest away. And then he said, he just have a talk with me like 10 minutes and say, this is my number 2, but if you need something, just call me. And he said that recently, like in 2005, then he met, like in 2011, he met him again, and he said to him, I remember you have a British name, and I said, my name is Tudo, I want to fly with you in 1994. And he said, but why have you never called me until today? He said, I'm still working on my plan. I wouldn't call you and say, brother, can you buy me a hamburger, knowing that you are a multi-billionaire. I cannot say that. And he said, he looked at me and said, you're a wise man. And he said that is like 15 years later, he's working on a plan. He came up with a plan that would allow a donation of a couple of billion. You told me what you want to do if you want to work with a couple of billion. So work on your plans. And this is what differentiates the white people from a lot of us black people. They work with a plan. They see a project running. We walk there and say, who is the boss? I'm looking for a job. And they say, they see an opportunity. They ask you for an email, they go and prepare and they send an email that is characterized with full detail. And looking at it at his home, you will say, this is definite, this guy knows exactly what you want to do. Because in there is budget, there is premiums, there is wages, there is everything in there. And then I can do it, but he cannot do it, but he's going to come and hire me and do it. And this is important if I would quote it, that never do yourself something that someone will do for you. Because Bill Gates earns $5,500 a minute for what he gets other people to do. President Ramaphosa, the owner of McDonald's, he earns a lot of thousands of dollars a minute for what he gets people to do. Not for what he's doing. Okay. Never ever do yourself what someone would do for you. You see? So this is it, guys. That is differentiate, start an organization and make an organization in our lives. This is how. Because my concern in the 21st century is how is then are we going to finish this century if we continue with this perspective in our mind? You know, like 2 or 3 centuries ago, people came from the West and they tried to evangelize or to educate the African man, but because he was uncivilized, he could not handle the quality of information they intended to give to him. So the quality of education was all in all put to a lower scale so that can accommodate his capacity. And some would say, Talent, we don't want you to speak because you speak Japanese things that are too strong to handle. I wouldn't say that because my worry is that if we then keep the pace 500 years ago, if our level of education was sealed down 500 years ago, are we going to keep With the movement of technology in the 21st century, if we keep on sieving information to the people we intend to develop, we cannot. So this is it, guys. Even if we call for the next seminar, we're not gonna sieve information and say we are talking to people from Zwelitshe. I'm not talking with people from Zwelitshe. I'm talking with business owners of tomorrow. I'm talking about the people who are gonna replace the fame of Tashakovs tomorrow. I'm talking about people who are talking about the pig dog, which is gonna market itself to the level of bidding for a contract in super sport and say I'm gonna take pictures and video for you. So this is it, guys. We need to have a local people, but with a global mandate. What is it that you see? How far do you see as a leader? As a leader, how far do you see? As a mother, how far do you see? The Lord said to Abraham, I'm not going to hide anything to this guy, knowing that he had a gift of teaching his children the ways of God and the children of his children. And the word of God came to Abraham before he had a child. And listen to this, if you do a Bible study, you understand that Abraham at 100, he had a baby. And then at 135, this guy is Isaac. Should be 135, and then he get a wife. And then Abraham at 165, he dies. He get it right. I got it right. And then at 160, they had Isaac getting a wife. They got Isaac getting a wife and bearing double twins, if not mistaken there. But the point that I want to say here, if we don't have time to do the Bible study, I will be able to give you the faces. But the idea is, these twins had 15 years with Abraham. These twins had 15 years with Abraham. When he died, the difference between the age of Abraham and the twins was 15. So Abraham taught Isaac the ways of the Lord, and he taught Jacob and Esau. He had 15 years with these guys. That is the reason why when Abraham is told of God to put Isaac on the altar, he go to the mountain and put his head on the rock, and he wanted to kill him, and then the lamb chose. And then the lamb was then given as a sacrifice. And what is he talking about here is that the rock is Jesus. And Jesus is the center of revelation for everything that he would do in life. Everything that we have, whether it be a computer, a car, whatever, was once in a spiritual world that was given description here on earth. Sometimes God is trying to give a revelation to the world. He drops it in a dream to Nebuchadnezzar, and Daniel interprets it. He drops it to Pharaoh in a dream, and then Joseph interprets. Everything that we see on the physical world was once in the spiritual world. So, in my conclusion, this guy had 15 years of being taught by Abraham, complex stuff. And then this is the reason why even Jacob was not there when his father was almost killed by his grandfather. When he saw his brother in pursuit of him, he runs to the rock, he put his head on the rock, just like his father did. He put his head on the rock, and then he saw a ladder going up in heaven, and in the revelation his name was changed, and then definitely destiny was restored. So I believe that if the Lord had to give me information, or if to give you information, He gives you depending on how much are you going to teach people. Because Abraham was given all the knowledge of the world simply because God said in the word that I know this man who have got a gift of teaching generation. Just for that reason, I cannot hide anything from you. So what are we saying? Whatever mission that you have, as long as you have a desire to teach it to someone. Imagine Mashota Motoba, the shot that people takes, if they would teach it to a next company, and you have someone giving a testimony from Waterfront and saying that my business is doing well here just because I had help from TikTok media. That's our mission, guys, because we want to touch lives, because we want to be developed, we want to resurrect. May God bless you for coming. It's been an awesome day to be here, and I'm so glad that I'm here with the top 10% of the society. That shows up for the events of learning. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Talent Bvunzawabaya. We had a wonderful time. We were live here on leadership seminar. Life-changing leadership seminar, one with Talent Bvunzawabaya and Rob Stole and Minister Zoe. It was great and wonderful. Wow. Wow,
I was listening to this the other day that we were sitting having some juice and just trying to just hear what this man has to say. So I was listening to him, and when I get a chance to listen, I listen very well and I don't speak. So I found to see that is why I am the only one that is allowed to call him the master of leadership. You guys don't do that. Don't try this at home. So yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Talent, for a great service. This is wonderful. Leadership is something that we need in our lives, and for you to know where you are going, how to achieve something, how to overcome challenges, and all of that. With concluding, I know all of you, some of you want to sleep, some of you want, can we book a hotel or something? I don't understand. You guys want to sleep already? The message that we're talking about tonight was about the power of letting go. And I like the statement that Zoe said. Minister Zoe said, let go and repair.
Prepare and replace.
But I said to you guys, don't go and repair your boyfriend if you know that the boyfriend doesn't let you repair. Imagine repairing something that is in good condition already. You are breaking it now. Okay guys, so the power of letting go. I never talked about this. We'll visit the questions and answers and all of that. I'm just concluding this now. We don't have much time. We are going to be going home now. In the next 10 minutes we are going home. And what I want to say before I even forget, before I talk about the power of letting go, is that you guys, if you are, I actually said it now. I said it today earlier on WhatsApp, and I said, if you guys know that you're going somewhere far, or you're going somewhere where you're going alone, it's very important that you let us know. I will be responsible. I mean, I'm the host of the event. As you're sitting in here now, I'm responsible for your